Good morning. I'd like to share some more of my poems and my thoughts with you. Here are a few that I just wrote recently. And this is a thought of mine. Our government gave a grant of $200 million to build more nuclear plants. Why? Use solar energy, wind, and water. This nuclear nonsense will destroy everything the Creator made. There are too many sadists in control of disrupting our government, we, the people. I just wrote this poem the other night. It's titled On a Raft. We are just floating in America, on a raft, on a raft. We truly have no say in the affairs of things in America, on a raft, on a raft. They have started the killer wave, which is taking America out, on a raft, on a raft, on a raft, on a raft. My introduction to this little piece is racism. Racism is the practice of discrimination and segregation. From the time that I can remember, racism has been a part of my life. As a child, living in the deep south of Georgia, white people were racist towards black people. Once, grandmother and I went into town, and as we were walking down the sidewalk, grandmother snatched me off of the sidewalk and said, "Let the white folk walk on the sidewalk." I said, "Grandmother, well, why can't we share the sidewalk?" She said that we might get beat up or go to jail if we didn't get off of the sidewalk. At that time, I could not understand. She said, let the white people walk. There was only one movie theater in the city. Black people sat in the balcony where the seating arrangements were very poor and uncomfortable. White people sat on the ground floor, and the seatings was much comfortable. My school was segregated. Racism is still a part of my life here in 2011, which is so very unfair to me. I will tell you a little history about racism, the cause and the effects of racism, plus the solution. The cause of racism is ignorance. White people and other nationalities should know the truth is distorted. Female fossils of an African woman was found, which were the first human bones to be found, and they named those fossils Lucy. Therefore, every other sex or ethnic groups are my family. We are all related. Black people helped build America as slaves. Black people's plight is caused by the injustices of the white man. There are many effects because of racism. Our black men are incarcerated. Black women are seeking white men because they don't want to be gay. More black men coming out of jail gay. Black men come back from war and have to sleep on cardboard boxes in the streets. Again, I repeat, in America, we should have no homelessness, period. There is a higher percentage of unemployment amongst blacks, but now every nationality, you might as well say, is unemployed, but still the highest percentage is of black people. More black teenagers are getting pregnant. Black people are pushing grocery carts up and down the streets collecting junk in California. The solution to this problem, according to Kenneth Clark, on The Present Dilemma, 1968. We will use the power of discipline, intelligence, combined with the respect for moral values and humanity, to save Negroes from the destructive possibilities of white and black dilemmas, and thereby contribute to the survival of America. For America cannot survive if Negroes do not, and Negroes and other group of human beings are likely to survive if America does not. In other words, if America does not survive, the whole world basically goes under. This is a poem that I wrote in California a while back, and it's titled "The Piece of Paper." Emphasis is put on a degree, preferably a Bachelor of Arts. And the only job you can get is operator of go-karts. You go to school all of those years to go through life drowning in your own tears. You take class after class, which is repeat. It is obvious why a person would want to hit the streets. If high school was college, it wouldn't take so long to get the knowledge. At this pace, we're stuck, trying to get the piece of paper for the bucks. I like to run this by you. The United States give Cairo $2 billion a year. Yet this government would not give us another stimulus check. We are in need right here in the United States. Cairo isn't the only place. It gives Israel $10 million a week in aid, and we're suffering here. And there are more countries that the United States giving away money to, but they're crying broke and cutting us. It's so unfair. The title of this little poem is called God. God is in our hearts. This is where everyone must start. Common sense tells you to treat self right. While doing this, no one wants to feud or fight. There are many religions and denominations. To love others as thyself is the foundation. Once this is understood, the world will be a better place. God's love should be in everyone's face. This little short poem is titled Unfairly. Black people are not treated right. White people think they are out of sight. Seem like they will never get right. Instead of getting right, they want to fight. When will black people be treated right? We are loving people who don't want to fight. We want things to run smooth and right. Don't they understand that life is nice and bright? I like to run this by you also. People are dying from a drought and hunger in Africa. All people should be ashamed of ourselves for not standing up for the motherland, Africa. We need to do the real thing and put in irrigation in Africa and livestock and seeds so these people can sustain themselves and not be given handouts. They need some show-how to know how. And actually, here in the United States, people need to learn more. Most people don't know how to grow anything, any vegetables, and raise any livestock or have sufficient food for themselves without depending on a store. I will talk a little bit about this deficit. President Obama said that this agreement would mean the lowest level of domestic spending since Dwight Eisenhower was president, which is over 50 years ago. I say we're in a retrograde, which means we are going backwards. The United States could not take the chance of defaulting on our debt, risking a United States financial collapse and a worldwide depression. Although the stalling of the Tea Party and other Republicans caused America's downgrade, they will be cutting $2 trillion from the federal spending over 10 years. The spending cuts will whack the economy. All states are bracing for potential loss of federal funds for welfare. Did you hear me? For welfare, for schools. Did you hear me? For welfare, for schools. They will be cutting money to help pay for health care, jobless benefits, road building, and schools could run out of funds, could run out of cash. The debt ceiling fix means problems for states. Before the agreement on the debt ceiling deficit, California had already borrowed $5.4 billion from private investors to see them through, which that state is supposed to be broke. The economy is already grinding to a halt. The recession is here. This deficit bill will hit non-security discretionary spending hardest. A small section of the budget that includes funding for food inspectors now to inspect the food that we eat. That shouldn't be. There should be no cutting there at all. There will be cutting in the FBI, education grants, and it should never be any cutting in all three of those areas. Among many other programs and services people associate with government, the federal support for states will diminish more and more because of these spending cuts. The biggest job losses are in the public sector. Teachers, police officers, firefighters. This is so wrong. Which will be an additional drag on the economy. They're taking us back to Jesse James and Al Capone times. President Obama said there will be no President Obama said there will be no initial cuts to entitlements programs, to Social Security and Medicare. Pardon me for that stumbling. This poem is about my grandmother, and I titled it Unforgettable Person. Grandmother was a mother of 12 children. She was physically powerful, brave, with a great sense of humor, kind, caring, and respectable. She was a sharing, sweet, lovely lady. Grandmother was a survivor. She made clothes, canned foods. We grew vegetables and we raised livestock. Grandmother Bessie could make a meal out of mostly anything, and the meals were delicious. She believed in God. She was a stoical person, stoic. Early one morning, we were awakened by Grandmother telling us to get up and get ready, that we were going to travel into the woods to visit her friend.